Hey, Greg Lammers here, the G and G Lammers and Sons, and yes, I do have two sons. So, hey, we're gonna do a installation of a Hex Ezcan on a 2016 R1200GS liquid cool. Cool product. I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by these guys. I just found out about this on the internet, and there is all kinds of videos on YouTube about how to install this and do all that, and I'm not going to get into the programming part of it. It's really simple. I basically used my laptop here in the shop, downloaded the program, programmed the unit, and set it up before I even put it on the bike. And you can go back and change it if you want. There's all kinds of things this thing will do. I'm gonna use it to operate two front auxiliary lights that I got off of Amazon. And as I said later in the video, I'm gonna try and do a link in the description, and also this. I bought this through I think it's Ted's BMW, something like that. They got a lot of stuff. But yeah, great deal, great product. It basically hooks into the multiplex of the bike, the CAN system, the computer area network, and it ties in. They basically tie it in, I think, through the TPMS sensor, the tire pressure monitoring system. So it comes on with the. You'll see in the deal. Hey, and also be a little light on me here. I'm new to this whole YouTube thing. I see other videos, and I enjoy how things work. I was for 43 plus years, I was a school bus motor coach mechanic. You know, the motor coach side of like Greyhound, and not them, but that style of coach. In fact, I own a 95 Prevost XL that I'm currently in the process of converting to a motorhome, and I'll maybe do a few videos on that, because there's a lot of cool systems, and I was trained at the factory at Prevost, so I know a fair amount about them. Not all, but a fair amount. And I do a lot of different things, so I'm going to try and put out a few videos. So if you can, go light on me here, and you're probably going to see a lot of screw ups in this, the camera being out of focus or whatever, but I'm going to try and do this. And if you like it and subscribe. I'm going to try and grow this channel, because it's a lot of fun watching some of these videos and some of the things that you pick up. And like I say, I do a lot of different things here in my shop. We got a lathe and a mill, and a CNC plasma table, and we're doing, you know, resto mods and a lot of different stuff. So in my retirement, I built this shop in 1991 with the intentions of someday retiring and do whatever I want every day. I race dirt cars. My son and I, he's into farming, does a lot of, he's a mechanic too, my youngest boy. So that being said, let's get on to the video. Again, like and subscribe, and we'll go from there. Thank you. All right, we're making up these cables for our lights on our R1200GS. Gonna make them about 4 feet 4 inches. Go from our light that are on, these come off Amazon. I end up putting a Deutsch connector on the end of them, and makes a nice clean seal. Excuse my reach here, but there's the little kit I have. You can buy these off Amazon. They're called a Deutsch connector. This is actually, hang on here, let me flip the screen. I guess I can't, but I have these. And then I put this little case, I got at Menards, and then all the pins are in here. put you back in the holder here. All the pins are there, and then here's the tool that I use to crimp these on. So basically take your wire stripper. If you don't have one of these, get yourself one. Do any kind of wire stripping at all. I use these connectors all the time. I race dirt stock cars, and I use them on they make a very nice connection. They're all sealed. They're sealed from the back. I don't know if you can see that little seals on the back. But the way I do it is I grab, so we're gonna need, this is the female end. This end will have the 2 pins in it. I don't know if you can see that in there. And then these are hooked to the lights. I'll see if I can figure out how to put a link to Amazon on these, for these. That's where I got them, and I'll show you the brackets on the bike. Yeah, so now we're gonna need to put the barrel in. We're gonna need to put the female end of this in there. So basically I'll see if I can show this. I make sure that the wire is all cleaned up good. Take and thread it on. Take and just put it on the, these are marked with a green. I don't know if the camera will focus, but marked with the green. Then you just basically insert that barrel into the tool and give it a squeeze. Now the tool will lock if it's not done, but there it crimps. It basically goes in from 4 directions and pinches that on there. And I will grab another one. And you can do it this way too, where you basically load. It's kind of hard to see with my fat fingers in the way, but you can basically load the tool and a little harder to do it, but then just squeeze it till it releases and you're good to go. Now these tools you can get, these are actually, I believe I got these from either Mac or Matco. There's actually different sizes, and I have 3 of the sizes. So here's the 3 normal sizes. This one is, well, I tell you, I can't see a lot without my glasses on anymore. These bigger ones are, this is a 12 gauge one. This is the 14, 16, and 18 gauge. And I believe this is the 22 gauge. Can't really see it. Yep, this is for 20 and 22. And I believe that the tag is kind of rubbed off, but I believe these were through Matco. But you can get these on the Jungle website all day long. So as is, you can get the Deutsch connectors from there too. So okay, so now we got our ends crimped, and now we want to take the appropriate female plug-in, which is, excuse me, the appropriate male, which is this one. And then what I do is I take, you know what, I wonder if we'd flip this. Okay, sorry, I flipped it. Sorry, we're gonna take our 2 we're going to take our two female pins that we just crimped onto the wire, and then we got to make sure that we orientate the plug-in right. You'll see where this is the red side, this is the negative, this is the hot side, this is the negative side. So we got to make sure and put the get it figured out so that, all right, so that this side is our negative side. So what I do, just like this, and you can mark it if you want, but then what I do is I take a little silicone lube and I spray the end, and I spray the two pins. And then, keeping our orientation, I take and start them in here. And that rubber seal, it'll push right through that. And then just push them in until they click. Now you can see the negative's not all the way in yet. So you push it in until they click. Now these should be flush on the female pins inside the male outer housing. They should be all the way in. Now we're not finished yet because we gotta take and put there's a little wedge in there that locks it into place. So we take, and that's this little thing. Usually you can buy these in a kit. You can buy all the parts. You can buy all the parts individually. The housings, the pins, but this is the way these go. So the male outer housing has to have female inner pins in it, and then you just take this little lock tab with the face on it, and you take and pop that into place so it looks like that. Now the openings, the pins in there are right below this little plastic housing. Now, note, if you're paying attention, you saw that I knocked this little rubber O-ring off of here. You kind of see it, and I rolled it over. Rolled it over on there, and sometimes you got to get it. I don't know if the camera will focus. Yeah, there it is. So now we got that seal. This is actually a seal on here. So when you push these two together, now if we did this right, our red wire, which is on the top, and our red wire, which is on the top, this should plug in. And you can see how you'll hear it click. There. So now that's a tight seal. That's not going to leak. You got seals on both ends. But that way you can take, if you want to unhook your light or there's an issue, you can unplug it. You don't have to cut the wire, because this wire is going to go all the way up to our Hex Ezcan and plug in. So now we have to put the other end on here. Now, what I should have did is take a little, before we put this other end on, we want to take a piece of shrink tube and cut off, take about an inch and a half, and cut it off so you have a piece of shrink tube. And we're going to take and put it, you actually want to do this twice, but take and slide this over your outer sleeve. I should have did it from the other end, but it'll slide over. So now it's over the top. So now we can slide this all the way down the wire and actually take So what I use, I have it on a spool. I think I can't remember where I got this, but I'm sure they got this stuff, but I have it in different sizes, and I think you can buy this probably in a 5 or 10 foot stick of this or roll of this. This is, I don't know how many, this was 100 feet, and I use it all the time for different things, but they make it in different sizes. But this will actually blow up. You can actually make this pretty good size. You can almost get a 3/4 inch of wire inside this. You know, it just expands, and I just push it on. I take however many wires you want. Like in this case, it was 2 wires, and I just tape it on the end like this, and I just feed it through. So I kind of figured out what I needed, which ended up being like 4 feet 3 inches. All right, so we got our end done. So now you can take and heat shrink this. Take your heat gun, or if you use a torch, be careful because this outer coating will shrink up too. But I just take I got a Milwaukee heat gun, which works pretty good. For smaller shrink tube. It's still not as good as a plug-in 110 volt one or 120 volt, but it's pretty handy, especially if you're out in the field working where you don't have access to power. But that makes a nice clean end on that wire protector. That makes a nice end. Makes it nice and clean. So now on the other end, we have to put the plug in that they send with the Hex Ezcan. Now, remember this, and I didn't go over programming it, but they got a nice video on Hex Ezcan on how to program the Hex Ezcan. Just remember, if you have 2 front lights, there's 2 outputs of the Hex Ezcan. In my case, I use the red and the blue. Now I put little tags, and I'll show that in later in the video. But I put 2 tags right on the Hex Ezcan as to which the red. I believe the red was the left front light, and the blue was the right front light. And the reason they do that is you have 2 outputs, because I have mine configured so that when I turn my turn signal on, it turns that whatever turn signal on. Let's say I turn the left one on, it turns the left spotlight on the front off to make the turn signal show up better, and it does the same for the right. And you can program it either way, but I thought that as of right now, and you can go back and change it if you want to. But as of right now, I thought, wow, that works. That makes sense. We'll shut that light off, and won't be quite as, bright, and kind of drowned out the turn signal, especially in the daytime. So we want to make sure that this outer housing is all the way down to the. Now, what I did on these is I actually cut this a little short now. I pull this housing back, and here's a good time to take your shrink tube and your scissors and cut you another 1.5 chunk and slide it over your wire and over your outer protector. which in my case is kind of flared out, so it's, you can kind of spin it a little and get it slid over that. And then what I did, so when I get done, my splice is inside my wire protector. So you can kind of push this back, so you got a bunch of wire, and I cut off about 4 inches of this. And then I got a little bin over here. I'll show you in a second. I got a little bin over here that I throw these in, because every once in a while you need a little piece of short pigtail of wire, and you don't have to cut it off the big spool. All right, so now we got this ready to splice. So we're gonna take our handy dandy little stripper tool, and I strip back maybe 3/4 of an inch. In fact, I'll go a little more on that one. Because when you're splicing, you want enough to get the two connected together, and then take and twist them a little bit. And then I'll take my Hex Ezcan plug adapter, and I'm going to take and let me see if I can turn you a little bit here. I'm going to take and clamp these wires back so that coating is held back a little bit. And then I got this fancy little splicing tool. Excuse me. There's a couple different ways you can do this. I don't have it here. I got it at my son's shop right now. I was using it out there. But it's a little tool that Matco makes, and maybe in another video we'll do a splicing video, because that thing's really handy if you're working in a dash of a car or under the hood of a truck or whatever. But these little things are pretty handy too, these little deals. So what I do, and now here again, you got to kind of remember, is about every, seems like fifth one I do, I forget. But I solder these, so I want a piece of shrink tube over the top. So I'll go over to my shrink tube drawer. And I ordered these. I think I got these on Amazon. They come in a bunch, but they're all pre-cut. And they're perfect for like a 16 or 14's maybe a little big for this, but they work perfect. So what I do is take either end and slide it down. Just make sure you're far enough away from where you're going to be soldering so you don't start shrinking it down on the bottom. But I got this one set up like that. So then what I do, you know, our orange wires are 12-volt side, and I'll take and kind of push these so they're kind of together. I'll see if I can get you in here a little closer. I don't have the best of tripod here, but so I just kind of take these, put my glasses on so I can see. I just kind of meld those two together. Sometimes you want to make sure all your little wire things are there. Then I take my, I got a new roll of solder over there, but I take my solder gun and I've got Milwaukee battery M12 one, but they work pretty well. This is maybe this one's a little quicker, I think, but make sure I just kind of hold it on there. I'm no expert at this, but I've done it for a lot of years. So give it a little, I don't know if you can see that. So now I just take that off and I spin that around a little bit, and sometimes you gotta take a needle nose and kind of crimp that down if you got a little bubble or something sticking up. But take your shrink tube like that and take your out of the clamp over here. You can turn it a little more then. And voila! There you go. Now we'll rinse and repeat the other side. And we've got to remember is put your shrink tube on before you splice, otherwise you'd be cutting it apart, or in the case of this one, you could probably put a little tape around it's just the negative, but glass is on. Okay. All right, there we go. Get a little bit of those little threads sticking up. Done. And there we go. Moving back here a little bit. All right, now we can take it out of our vise. We'll take and push our, see how it kind of bubbles up? If you want to, you can get that, you can get your shrink tube behind that bubble like that, and then push that down to the end, and we should come out. Of course, I couldn't do that again if I tried. take and pull it down again. We did a pretty good job of getting that just about to the end. Your splices are inside your cage. I'll take our and if you want, we got a little bit of a gap right in here. Get it warm, set your heat gun down, and press your wires together. Just kind of let that deal, and there you go. We're all set. We got our 4-foot lead. When you end up, you probably end up with about 55 inches, I guess. That makes it from the light. That makes it from the light on the front of the bike back to under the rear seat, which is where the hex can unit is. So we got both ends. This is set up for the light. This is set up for the hex can, and we'll go put it on the bike. Now, these lights come with just a normal nut for here. I went in my assortment. This is a metric M8, I think 125. I got a lock nut that goes with it, so it ain't gonna vibrate loose. I don't know if you need to. They come with a lock washer, but just knowing how things work, I'm going to use a lock nut. All right, I got the light all mounted. Be down here with our Deutsch connector. And the way I found to run this was I went up here behind the throttle body, and actually I took this panel off here, but take your T25 Hobo Crate Torx. I don't know if that's where I got it, but the facilities and they're handy. Drop the screw on the ground. Hopefully it goes where you can find it, which it did. And this slides back. Don't try and pry it. It slides back on that little hook there. And now, you take this wire and feed it back behind the throttle body. And you can put it behind all these wires. You can see that. We can take and plug these two in. Clipped in. On this wire, there's actually a nice little spot to hook that. And run this up. Hopefully, we can snake it through. Let me take you off the what I did there, but
simply snake the wire through and up.
Hang on, I gotta have two hands to do this. All right, now we'll plug it in. Plug it in to our blue light. Let me get the light out of the way here. The blue connector now goes to the right front, and you got to orient this right, which should be that way, and there we go. And then you can tuck all this. You can tuck all this back in here, and hopefully the seal will go back in. All right, there we go. We got our wire all. Now I'll tie strap that all up, that wire right here, and then show you when it's done. All right, so we got everything all tidied up here. Runs along here, goes up and into the under seat compartment where the Hex Ezcan is. Now, if we did everything the way we were supposed to, it should work. So let me find a place for the camera here, and we'll check it out. All right, we're gonna try it out. Here's our lights. Okay, key on. Voila. Okay, high beam. See, they get brighter. Or if you flash to pass. Left turn signal shuts the left light off, just like it's supposed to. Now the right turn signal shuts that light off. Shut the turn signal off, lights come back on. I think it's a success. What do you think?